Welcome everyone to our Tuesday night chat. This is our Cooinda Community Connections, Cooinda meaning happy place. And I'm Kelly Wilkins, your host from My Self Reliance. This is where we are every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. with great information, speakers, and lots of fun to be had. And tonight, we're super excited to introduce to you a special guest, someone that I've been following for some time on all the social media channels, and that's James from Vast Harvest. Welcome, James.
Hey, thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here. I'm going to, I met James on Saturday at our bee. We had a bee, I want to call it a symposium, I guess. We were there to talk all about the bees. Before we jump into that, tonight is a very special event because this is the night where we're going to announce the winners of the People's Choice Awards from the My Self Reliance Summit. So for those of you who are new to this channel, we held a 10-day summit over in July. We had 20 speakers. Every day we had someone at 12 o'clock and at 8 p.m. And we covered all range of topics, everything from money to education to food, growing. We talked about communities. We had PHA on and Let's and Bartios. We talked about Organite, and all of those are still available. The summit is still available on the website. You can purchase a summit ticket for only $25 and get all those 20 speakers. But we also had the People's Choice Awards where you could vote for your favorite. And there was 4 categories. There was the most inspiring speaker. There was best presentation. There was topic that you wanted to hear from again. And there was the speaker that you wanted to hear from. So if I know there's some people who are in the audience tonight who are still putting through their votes, I'll allow that. You can jump in there and share us with you who you loved. At the end of our call, we will spin the spinny wheel and find out who won. And then we're also we're actually gearing up as we speak for our festival. So come October the 20th to the 22nd of October, Friday to Sunday, we've got a 3-day festival where we get to do all of that fun stuff in person, have great speakers and workshops, live music, entertainment, and an old-fashioned barn dance. How about that? Without further ado, I want to share with you, if you haven't heard of James from Vast Harvest, he actually brought to light what was happening with bees on property. Now, if you haven't heard the story, the bees are being eradicated by the Department of Primary Industries, who have decided that there was a varroa mite, that the only way that it could be stopped was to kill off beehives. And they've been killing off beehives now for the last plus year, and thousands and thousands and thousands of perfectly healthy bees have been killed off, and also native insects as well. And so last week we had Kate Mason joined by Giselle and Marie, all on talking about it. And then on Saturday we went along to Kincumber and heard from really great speakers to really dive down into this problem with the varroa mite. But tonight we have James from Vast Harvest, and James is on a permaculture property. Yeah. And James, before we get into the whole problem of the bees, I really love that on your property, you've set some really great things up there around food and food forestry. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so we basically, on our property, we have 400 acres in total. but food forest and permaculture setup resides on 25 acres of that. And permaculture is a permanent, sustainable version of agriculture where we can work with nature and not against, because the problem with all commercial farms and that is it kills everything above, below, on the ground. We are designing everything to be united and animals to eat in abundance, us to eat in abundance. So we've got thousands of varieties of fruit trees planted over about 19 swales, which comes out to just over 3 kilometers of swales, which are mounds. And it's going to grow up as a proper forest that's completely running off itself. And it's really the way of the future. And it's what they used to do in the past, but it's one thing that's been lost.
Now I'll just share a photo so that people can understand what you're talking about there, James. And if you haven't seen a permaculture farm before in the Swales, this is what James is talking about. And you've got all this terracing happening, which captures the water, so you don't get water just running off the land.
Did you get that other photo I sent you as well?
Yeah, let me go to that one. This one?
Yeah, so you can see the dam there on the side. So all those swales run off each other on contour, and once they fill up a certain amount, they hold water above that as well, which are the large swales, are a bit lower.
Oh, in here?
Yeah, those. So those are all on contour, and they fill up with a lot of water. And there's some on the other side near the lower part, and they basically hit a level, overflow, and they keep on going all the way down the hill until they hit the dam, and they all flow into the dam after they've held a certain amount of water, so we don't have to water the plants.
Dam right there, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so you said you had lots of different varieties of trees and fruit trees.
Yes, there's thousands of varieties of fruit trees. That's an old photo when we first started, so all the fruit trees are very, very small. And you can see the eucalyptus trees there, but compared to what we have planted now, it's really scrubby. It's hard to get through sometimes. We do keep it maintained, but there is lower layers of shrubs, which we use as turmeric and arrowroot, and then you've got your medium bushes and your higher canopies and stuff like that.
Yeah. And do you have animals on your property as well?
Yes, we do. We have chooks, ducks, pigs. We're about to get goats, cows, quails, everything really.
And
Yeah.
it really does all feed into one another.
Yeah, well, the goal is to completely feed the animals off the property, feed us off the property completely, and also feed nature and the surrounding area of the property in abundant amount. And the photos look a bit small, and that's 25 acres. It's a massive area when you drive through it, but it's incredible when it comes to it. That's a tractor down there in that first photo there.
There's a tractor.
Oh, that's a bobcat, that one, and then you can see down the bottom, that's a tractor. Yeah, that's
wow.
and it's such a minuscule size compared to the swales.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. I have this there's this dream that myself and my husband have to have a property just like this. So we look at this and we think you're living the dream there, James.
It's hard work, but I definitely reckon I am. I mean, a lot of people, it takes a lot and a lot of effort to build something like this, especially with just a family of 4. We don't have employees. So it's really, really hard work, but at the same time it pays off, and at the end, it is living the dream.
Something that you mentioned on the weekend was about bartering.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So basically through bartering, we can, it's bartering through fruit. So the goal out of this is not money, it's about community and building a better community, because when people work together, that is when you can actually make a change. So we take into the system bartering. So for instance, we have firewood, and instead of charging people a load, we'd rather take something or just give it for free and just know that, you know, we can help each other out, because favors always come back around. And even if you're not getting something for your direct price right now, you might get it in the future.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
It's something that between yourselves and your neighbors, you're is it unspoken, or do you have any kind of, you know, system?
Not particular at the moment. I'm hoping that I can create a really bright future for bartering and a community around here. I have very, very big plans, and that's I'm up every morning at 6 a.m. on the machines and doing everything till like late night, because I'm trying to get everything done, because it's not about us, it's about, you know, everyone out there, and realizing that this world is it is a bit coming wonky. So yeah.
That's sure.
Yeah.
So are you reaching out beyond like selling any produce, or is it really just about the community?
Well, right now don't, especially without the bees, it's going to be harder, but we don't create enough produce like for us to be selling, or worth for us to be selling. So we'd rather just give it out. If we grow 400 pumpkins or 600 pumpkins or 1,000 pumpkins, sometimes we just have pallets and pallets, and we look at it, it's just, you know, it's worth more when you can give stuff out. So really, you look at it and you know it's going to make a better difference, and that's where bartering comes into play. And you get stuff back from that. People will always offer this or offer that, or they'll offer their service, and that's where it comes into play, is building this place. So they might come and work here for an hour or two, and you know, we all have a sausage sizzle at the end, and that's how our version of bartering works, really. And it's community coming together to work for each other.
That's beautiful. Well, on this channel, we talk about that a lot, and you know, that's the ideal community system, and that's what we're aiming for, and especially trying to bring some of that ethos into city life would be really amazing.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, people have the ability. They have a little yard, they can still do it. They still make stuff happen.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm.
So what part of New South Wales are you in?
I'm in the mid-north coast, just an hour north of Newcastle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So in the bush, in the middle of nowhere, where even our bees were literally in the middle of nowhere, so they wouldn't have been disturbed, but stuff like that happens. But yeah.
Now tell us about that. What happened? Tell us when you first were aware of the Verroa-mite, or you're aware of the DPI. Take us through that.
I was keeping a good eye on the Verroa-mite. Right when it came here, I was like, are they serious? Is this going to be as bad as they're saying? And I was like, all right, if it's that bad, eradicate it. And then after it started hitting a certain amount of cases, like it was like 5 and then 10 and then 15, and it's just spread everywhere. It's like, this is a bit concerning, and wasn't really my place to speak up, because no one else was. So I was like, clearly it must not be that bad because I'm out in the bush. And then it hit us, and then which would have been 10 months after they discovered it, and so-called discovered it. And then it was, all hell from there. They break onto your property if you lock it down, and they come after you, but they'll pour petrol into each one of your beehives, 250 milliliters of it, even if you've tested it, or even if they haven't tested it and it's clear of Verroa-mite, they will kill your hive.
So when you heard about them coming to you,
Yeah.
but you had no time to do anything. What happened?
So believe it or not, we're given one Biosecurity Act, like basically saying, hey, we're going to come and we're going to destroy your bees on this address, which we didn't own the property of that address, and we just said, you guys got this wrong, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, a week later, we just out of nowhere, 30 minutes, we're showing up. If you don't comply, it's 1.2 million each in fines. If you try and move the fire, if you try and move the hive, you open them, whatever it is. So, and the funny thing is DPI are an hour away. So they already would have had to been halfway here by the time they sent the order out.
Yeah, that's crook, hey.
It was, and that's when I hopped in front of the camera. I was down there. I'm like, I've got to hop in my bee suit, and I've just got to, do this one last video, and that's the one that that took off because, it took me, like the video only goes for like a minute or two, but it took me maybe 10 minutes. It really broke my heart having to do a video like that. And the thing is, I just didn't know what to do, so I brought it to the internet, hoping that someone, we can all band together and try and stop someone feeling the pain that I felt. It's wrong.
And did anyone ever come out and test your hives?
No, they completely skipped that. We questioned their sticky mats they had in their the Biosecurity Act and their permits around the sticky mats for testing, because they wanted to come out originally do testing. And as soon as we questioned that and we sent emails back, it took them 15 minutes to put us in the red zone. And they caught up one of our beekeeper mates that was also down the road. He's a bit more of a commercial guy, and he got a call before they even put them in the red zone. He goes, watch this, we're going to put you in the red zone. And they put us in the red zone. And on top of that, where they put the middle of the red zone, there is no hive. The only people that have hives near there tested, they did not have varroa mite, and DPI didn't test them either. So there's no cases of it, and they can hide this all because you don't have the right to know it in their eyes.
Wow, it's shocking. It's shocking. And it's unfathomable that they can just go ahead and think that they have the right to do this. I know back in the day, and I kept asking people, like, how come it's not being stopped? And I only found out on, yes.
Well, what's wrong is these guys have more rights than the police now. They can break into your property. In the new act, when they've redone this Biosecurity Act with the new funding, and that they've put in basically these DPI agents, if they suspect you of carrying bee equipment in your car or anything suspicious, they have the right to take you out of your car and search your car. They literally have more rights than a police officer, and this is just civil citizens that the government are just giving unlimited power to. Break into your property, trespass, steal your property, kill your property. It's wrong.
It's wrong. And so since then, you've done all kinds of videos. Actually, you've done a lot of videos,
educational and a bit more pushing. I want people to understand, because people don't know, and people even go up to them 14 months later, they go, that's still going on. It's still going on.
Yeah, and it's spread, isn't it? They
just spread it again today. I think it was today or yesterday. They just added even more cases in Kempsey. They just spread it out even more, and it's now, I think it's like 5 or 6 cases or wherever it's gone to, from the 1 to the 3 to the 5 in the last week, and it's almost 15 months in, and they're still doing this. It's to the point where it's ridiculous.
And it's worse than COVID, because they're not even showing data, are they? How it got here, or
well, I mean, I learned something interesting on this weekend, and one of those things was that there was a call-off sign around December, and when it comes in, you've got one election, one group running the party, and elections coming up around December, coming into December. They go, well, if this goes crap, then what are we gonna do? We've already dug a hole deep enough, so we may as well wait till after the election. Now the new group's in, they've got the old group's hole that's so deep that they can't even dig themselves out, so they just keep on digging and digging. and they don't know what to do, because if they stop, they're going to get blamed from the last group's complete actions where they should have stopped it in the first place, or the last party's actions.
So what do you feel like is, okay, let's start with you were encouraging people to take action with the ribbons.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know about that, do you want to share more about that?
Yeah, so yellow ribbons, with any yellow ribbons you can get your hands on, even if they're gold. We write "Save the Bees," no bees, no food on them. Sometimes we don't even write anything. As long as you have them, we try and get them up on the back of our cars, mailboxes, the front of our house, everywhere we can, signs. It's just a speaking point, because when people look at it and they're going, what is this? You can actually explain that this is because they're killing the bees. They're still doing it. This is our food chain at risk here.
100%. Our food chain at risk. Yeah, tell us more about that.
Well, our food chain and our ecosystem has been more at risk than ever, because since we've killed 40,000 hives, and it only seems like a minuscule amount in their eyes, which is 2% of Australia's hives. But 45% of those register in New South Wales. And when you start taking them all off the coastline where everyone is self-sufficient, and then you start limiting the transportation to all these commercial farms, there is not just lack of pollination with all the self-sufficient people. So no one's going to have food around here, but there is going to be lack of pollination with the commercial farms and the almond farms that get a pass from the varroa mite. So if they find one varroa mite out here in a hive, they kill everything in 10-kilometer radius. They find one on when they have 20 or 80,000 hives on one farm, they will only kill that one hive. And that's the difference. And they also pay 20% of this whole entire thing as well, these big guys. But they're looking at it like this: is there lack of pollination, you're going to get lack of product, lack of yield. Therefore, they're going to raise the prices in the shop for your mainstream vegetables, your fruits, your almonds. And on top of that, you're going to have no competition to face these guys, because they've just killed the whole self-sufficient market. They've killed all the small farm industry. So you have to buy their stuff at an expensive price, at a premium.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, because up and down the coast, you have a lot of self-sufficient farms.
Everywhere, absolutely everywhere. People don't understand how many of them there are. Like, and it's not just like there's permaculture setups as well. There's small farms, there's even backyard gardeners now more than ever. And none of them can grow.
If you I understand, like, you know, we've been in the accustomed to register everything. So if you get something, you get a dog, you register it, you get bees, you register it. If we go under the radar and don't register, you know, new hives, is there any way that they can find those hives?
Well, not technically. I mean, as long as you're not going to show them, they really shouldn't have a right to go on your property to find those hives that are unregistered. So there's a lot of people that have unregistered hives, and you know, this is why the DPI go, they can't, the only cases they haven't been able to track with the varroa mite, originally I was saying, the only case they weren't able to track were the ones that were illegally moved. But no one's going to declare their illegally moved hives to go and get it tested for them to go, well, these guys illegally moved their hives and they have varroa mite, because they would instantly be hit with a $1.2 million fine.
Are you more afraid of, so not you personally, I should say, but are farmers afraid of varroa mite?
Yeah, so when it comes to commercial industries where they've got absolutely maybe 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 hives, they're absolutely terrified, because they think they have to go to straight chemicals instead of actually looking into all these natural ways. And these guys are, in a way, over abusing a system. It's like having a banana plantation. It's really wrong because you're going to wipe out that race of bananas. When you keep it more centralized, you can look after them, then you're going to have less problems when it comes to pest control. But there is absolutely plenty of ways to control the varroa mite that does not include all these toxins. Even people I've been talking to a lot of people. This has opened me up with this TikTok stuff to hear all these people's different ways they're working with varroa mite, getting rid of it, even deformed wing virus, which comes from varroa mite, which was what they originally worried about. And affects the bees, but it's even copper on the front of these hives have known to apparently help with the varroa mite.
Yeah, so there's lots of natural ways of dealing with varroa mite, like they have done in other countries. And we seem to be the only country who thinks that we can eradicate them completely.
Well, I mean, it's like the hive beetle. Our hives have to have hive busters on the bottom, beetle busters on the bottom, and we have to redo them with diatomaceous earth. And when they get bad, we have to slip diatomaceous earth things into the each slat of the hive and try and control it the best we can, or we're going to lose a hive. It comes down to that. And the thing is, our climate's very, very, very unique when it comes to defending itself. So when it comes to varroa mite, it could have been here for 5 or 7 years and we would have had no clue. It's just a very, very slow spreader when it comes to our country.
So not only are they killing off our bees, but they're also baiting.
Yeah, so they're using a illegal chemical called fipronil, and it's an insecticide. This is banned in the UN, the EU. I mean, all that. It's in America, it's limited. Canada, it's limited. It's all very, very restricted, and not allowed in really anything when it comes to it. And they used it once for termites in Queensland. They wiped out the whole entire green carpenter bee race from up there. And now they've put 800 baiting boxes out purposely in New South Wales red zones, 2.5 kilometers northeast, south, and west of each other. And they're going to absolutely devastate not just feral hives population, which is your Europeans, but your native bees, which is, we have like 1,600 varieties of native bees. And they can't go and a lot of them are so rare, like they can't just go and put these baiting boxes out and do this. It's going to wipe all them out, especially the solitary ones that don't have homes if they're going to raid a broken down hive. So bit of backstory. European bees come to these baiting boxes, take a bit of this sugar water mixed with fipronil back to their hive. If they make it back to the hive, otherwise they're falling on the ground and poisoning everything else. They poison that whole entire hive. They kill the bees, most of the bees there in 48 hours. You're left with an unguarded hive. The poison stays in there up to 3 years. And that with that hive, you have all the native bees that start coming along. You have insects, like praying mantises, anything that eats honey, anything that, even birds, you'll have mammals, and they will consume this honey and absolutely get sick. And the thing is, the DPI is saying it's, a half-life of 3 to 6 months, which seems like crap, because once you actually start selling this in honey, you're looking at 2 to 3 years, really.
Right, because you can't separate the fipronil out of the honey.
Exactly. And especially once it's sealed in a non-expiry product, you'd almost think it'd be non-expiry as well.
Yeah.
If it's capped.
And so the baiting boxes that are around, there we have a Telegram channel that's devoted to pointing out where these baiting boxes are. They look like black plastic boxes, like a beehive box.
They look like a rip-off of a beehive.
Yes, but a Darth Vader version.
Yeah, exactly.
So what should people do if they find one of these? I mean, they're usually on public property.
Yeah, A lot of
Public
the
land.
time as well, they can be on private property. The DPI coming along and telling people these are bee monitoring systems or bee monitoring stations, not poisoning stations that are going to kill everything around the area. So your best bet is to just send it through, record it, see if there's bees around it, record it, because they're supposedly they're supposed to be there for 2 to 4 hours while monitoring it while the fipronil's there and watching every single bee that comes in and out of the hive. But we know from plenty of evidence now that that is not the case, and they're like every part of the whole entire procedure, they've absolutely screwed up and changed up and made it their own way. But yeah, your best bet's to record it, send it through.
And when you
And
say
be aware
record
of
it,
them.
what we're recording is their false claims that they're doing the right thing by watching it. And so we're recording around the area to go, there's nobody here watching this, they're not doing the right thing. And that's where we can make a legal claim that they are acting in properly.
Exactly.
Are they supposed to come back and pick them up and take them away?
Yeah, so there was originally things on that they were supposed to pack them up and take them away, and then there was also originally they were supposed to be in the trees. They weren't supposed to be on the ground. They were supposed to be boxes in the trees, and that completely changed. But the Biosecurity Act just overrides everything, that they can just literally walk up to you and slap you in the face, and you'd get in trouble probably still. Like, that's how it comes to what our world is in Australia. Is they take advantage of us and they treat us like trash.
Yeah, I have this fight that wants to say, just, dare give me that $1 million fine, see if that works.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to take it on. I don't have well, the last thing I have is $1 million to spend on a fine, but I wanted to do everything I could. It was to save the bees in my heart and save my ones. And I have so many comments, like thousands, going, why didn't you take the queen out? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And it's all because as soon as you're placed in the red zone and they come out and they know you've tampered with your hives, then you're screwed. Like they hit you with it.
Yes, it's very scary.
But it'd be interesting to see how it
intimidating.
holds up.
Sorry, I have a dog here. So now I'm just the next part is how do you start over? Now, you were telling me that even if you were to start with a new hive in your area, if it's already got the fipronil there,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Yeah, so if the fipronil, this is a problem with fipronil, is if it's ineffective, it's probably better for us. But B, if it's way too effective, which 800 baiting boxes in the red zones is a lot. It could spread right out of the red zone, and since that honey is sitting there for 3 years, even after that time, or if you get new bees in, they're going to have that chance. If they're close enough, they're going to raid that hive full of honey and they're going to take it back. And normally bees won't come, they always say if they've got plenty of food, they won't go to a food source that's further away or whatever it is. But when it comes to honey or any open frames like that, they're all over it. They absolutely love it. So it's a real big problem, and it's the same thing that varroa mite. If we left varroa mite to go through the feral hives, it wouldn't kill the native bees because it doesn't affect native bees, and B, you would still lose them all after 3 years, and C, everyone would still have their bees and be able to manage them. So all they're doing with fipronil and doing the killing is destroying everyone's bees and destroying the native and damaging the native bee population. It's just adding another two or 2 or 3 devastational things onto killing the bees, like having the varroa mite here already. It's like varroa mite's bad enough, and then they're doing this.
So what do you plan to do on your property then?
For the future, or
Yeah.
keep on expanding and hoping, trying, because it's like it's a fight between good and evil, and you know, I still have a bit of hope in my heart that the good's going to win. So let's hope it does. And the thing is, I want to be prepared when it does. So it's about looking ways around it and trying to keep on going on with our heads down, but trying to save and bring back the bees while we can and stop this program. So I'm always busy, and it's a crazy place when it comes to it.
Do you think that there's bees who could escape somehow the eradication, somehow the fipronil, and they'll be looking for homes, they'll be looking for somewhere to go, how bees operate, they usually look for a queen, don't they? But will you put out bee like homes again for them to migrate?
Well, they won't unless it's a split of a hive. So if a hive dies, then the hive's dead. But all the bees, say if the queen, the like 50% of the hive dies, the rest of it's just going to die afterwards. And when they split off, when you only get a year really between them before you split them off, and you can create a new hive or you get your honey from it if you're looking at that. But to recreate almost 40,000 hives, that's just absolutely stupid. And if you look at Kempsey now, where it is, it's in the zone where there's just another 30,000 hives in Kempsey just a couple of farms. So it's really devastational if they're going to continue this. They're going to look upwards of the 40,000 and start climbing towards the 100,000 zone. A big jump. And the thing is, a lot of those hives from Kempsey as well have already been taken to Victoria and around the place. So if there is so many cases there, it's already everywhere.
Yeah, it was a very confusing conversation on Saturday, I must say, with Steve, one of the president I'll find out of, suggesting that that what they're doing is the right way to go about it, while the rest of us are saying surely there's another way, and he's even saying surely there's another way.
Well, now he is, at least he's saying, but a lot of these people are starting to wake up, but they, if you've been in the game for that long, it shouldn't have taken you 14 months to wake up, or 15 months after you've lost that many bees. It just feels like they're using it more than they're actually connecting with it.
Yeah. And one of the guys, it wasn't Dolphy, I think it was not Steve. He said that he had a suggestion for how to get rid of the varroa mite. And the question came through from Gail. There's no predator for the mite, is there? There's no natural predator for the varroa mite.
No.
So
for a bee.
Did you go along with his suggestion about doubling the number of bees?
Yes, that's an interesting one. But on top of that, there is just when it comes to varroa mite solution and what is out there, it just starts getting very, very, very wild, because it's if you look very broadly and you look at the big companies that do it, very basic stuff. Now you look at all the new ones that are coming up and all the different from using mushrooms and all these different other things, from heat, even frequency to cook the bugs. It's just really a whole entire ball game when it comes to it. And even in America, when he said that if we let varroa spread, it would lose 90% of our hives in Australia, which I find absolutely bullcrap, because even in America in the 1980s, when it spread out, they lost 1 million hives out of 3.6 million, dropped to 2.4. So they'd be really impossible even when they had no techniques back then. And on top of that, after I think it was about 8 years in America, it started going back up. And then after that, what happens in America, you look at their bee problem there, even though it's still going up, they've got heavy pesticide use, which kills all their bees and that. So they've got a crap load of problems there. But he going on about the 90%, it seems like a lot of rubbish. And it seems like I'm not sure how to think of some of these people, but yeah.
Yes, it was very confusing at one point. So one of the things, if people haven't seen, and I there's always a problem, and then they present their solution for it, right? Put you in enough of a problem, and then they're going to come in and save the day. And one of their save the day solutions is they've already created the robo bee. So like, beware of that as a
there's a whole TV show on it, very advanced. It's called Black Mirror. It's one of the seasons, and it's absolutely freaky because they've got a whole season where it's all pollinated by robo bees. And you look at what Bill Gates investing in. He was here a couple of months conveniently before. He's the same bloke that wants you to eat bugs. This is all the world we're coming to. No more meat, just bugs and grass.
Well, I'm glad that you're pushing on anyway, James, and really sticking with it. And one of the things I think that Jake Cassar was there on Saturday, and he's very much an activist. And the way to get the masses on board is to really push the no bee, no food. If you want to starve, then kill the bees story.
Definitely.
So like, this is how we really need to wake everybody up and get everybody on board, because it really, as we've seen before, takes everybody's on being on board with it, get that same message out for it to be able to make that difference.
And they're doing this right after COVID as well. So it's another slap in the face. So hopefully after COVID, second slap in the face might wake people a bit more up. I might seem a bit crazy when it comes to it, but it really is like they have no excuse to be doing this. And if you can't see it back then, you could at least see some of it now. And if you can't see it now, then maybe in a year when you're starving, you will see it. But it comes down to true facts, and the thing is, we won't have a year to wait around to find out if we are going to be starving, because I don't want to see kids, I don't want to see young fellas, I don't want to see anyone starving. This is supposed to be all of our world. This is us working together, everyone. We're a human race for a reason.
Yep, exactly. Going back over the chat, Chris shared the Know Your Rights website, so knowyourrightsgroup.com.au, and that's where we need to, I guess, go to for those who can help us fight the good fight when it comes to all these fines that they want to scare people with. And I don't know if anybody has actually gone through that process, like gone, all right, do your darndest and go to court with it, and to see if they actually who wants to be in front of $1 million, but that's I guess
that, and well, it's like me when it comes to it as well. I've got the DPI with they've put my face out there with misinformation on it, which is absolute bullcrap with their government logo. That's a literal $1 billion industry of running a teenager's face down to the ground. But no one knows how to approach something like this. It's a $1 billion company. If you go and sue them, they're just going to counter sue you, and they just keep you in court for the rest of your life and drain the crap out of you. They really do not care about who you are, just as long as you're not in their way.
Yeah, that would have been rough, James, to wake up one day and see that your face on their sign and
well, the fact that people were sending it to us, like they didn't, apparently they were trying to say, didn't have many people at the place they were doing it at, but we still had people sending it to us. So clearly there's enough people to see it everywhere. So
yeah.
The world we live in.
The world we live in. James, I don't know if there's any questions that's going to come through the chat. If anyone wants to ask anything, now's the time. If you want to, if anyone's got anything they want to add or ask. But
Hey, James.
yeah.
The guys that came to your property, were they apologetic or were they like arrogant about it?
A couple of them were apologetic, did seem very concerned. One of them seemed a bit stuck up, but when it comes to the other people we were dealing with behind the phone, they just literally treated us like we were garbage. They you know, absolutely abused us when it come to it. And we come to the point where it's like, we can't talk to you. You write every last word down. And that's what happens when you deal with government. You have to make them write it down because they treat you like crap.
Well, we thank you for your time tonight. James has had a backburn going on in his property, and thankfully Dad's taking care of it. But
yeah,
so at least the burning is safe, right? And I think
I hope so. I can't see it right now unless I go over there, but I hope the flames aren't 20 foot high.
But I'm glad you're doing it now, so when it comes to fire season, you haven't got a problem there, because that could be rough otherwise.
Yeah, well, we've got a week left of burning off, and with Hawaii's whole situation and laser beams coming from the sky and burning everything in sight except the trees and blue umbrellas. It's, you know, we can see a replica of it happening here, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to set that property up, James?
Well, we've been here for 13 years, and the permaculture, it took us maybe about a year to clear the area and get it all prepped, and then from there we've had the food forest established for about 4 years. So it's probably been I'd say a total of 5 to 6 years we're looking at for most of the permaculture and food forest.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Oh, it is. It's blood, sweat, and tears, and when it's 4 of you, it's interesting because your family start yelling and throwing stuff at each other, but eventually you get over that and you learn how to work together, which is that breaking point. It's really, really good.
Very good.
Yeah, Kiko had an idea. We could get in touch with Dave O'Neiggs and he could get him to help spread the word.
I think I was on Dave O'Neiggs.
Where are you? You had a chat with him?
Yeah. Pretty similar. Yeah, I did. I'm almost certain I did. Oh, and I just have a. But yeah, I've had even Z Media with Maria Z. Yeah, I was on that, and so I've been trying to get as much out as possible. We've had Cafe Locked-Out.
Yes.
Yeah, Michael up here as well. So
Great.
yeah, and hopefully they've been pushing us around, but it's going to be a sketchy ride, this one. But that's the only word I can describe it is we'll hopefully have maybe some mainstream media which is going to be a bit knocky around, hopefully pushing on our side here. So
yeah,
in the next week.
Well, that's my challenge to all the listeners. Anyone watching the recording, get your yellow ribbons out. Keep sharing
please.
the word.
Yellow ribbons, get the word, spread it out, tell everyone. It's very important, and this is not just your future, it's your kids, your grandkids, and beyond that. This is it can, if they can take this away from you and take the bees away from you, imagine what they can strip away from you in the future.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most important calls we've had to date. And so, you know, this is really in our backyard. A lot of things that we see and hear about happen, you know, over there. And this is, if you're in New South Wales, this is happening in your backyard and very close and right on the outskirts of Sydney now. So we can't ignore it. It won't go away on its own. We have to all band together and support each other and do something.
Definitely.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your time, James, and
Thank you for having me.
please thank your gracious mum as well and your dad for all their hard work. And I met your mum. She's lovely.
Yeah, she does a very, very good job. She helps me out so much with a lot of this stuff. So does my dad, but especially mum with all this. So she's great.
Yeah. And I've got 2 boys, James, and I hope that they love being on the land and doing what you do as much as you do. And so you're a great role model for young people. And so thank you for who you are and what you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So now, before we go, I promised the prize winners, and so I'm going to share my screen. We're going to jump over to the spinny wheel. Yeah, everyone's saying thank you in the chat. And James, do you have any links that you want to send me? I'll put them in with the call. All right. So on our spinny wheel, I've got all the names of the people that have voted. I hope I do at least. If you don't see a name there, I apologize. Ready to spin. Here we go. Oh, the winner of the spin, we have Paul on tonight from True Colors Organics, and you get to, Paul, put your link in the chat. If you live in the Sydney Basin, you'll get to win a tray of microgreens. And so ready to spin that. Yvette! Yay! Congratulations, Yvette. Yvette's here tonight. Where are you, Yvette? I'm going to spin one more time, and the winner of this one wins a prize from the My Friends Compost from Val. Now Val does a beautiful course on how to grow your beautiful worms in their worm compost, or you could choose a box of composting worms. So let's spin again to get one more winner. Joshua! Yay! And Joshua and Yvette are in the room tonight. So congratulations. Well done. And I do have one more prize from Arbonne. It's a full-size bag of protein shake in your choice of vanilla or chocolate. And so that is coming to the winner of, I spin this again. TC. Now, TC voted in the chat. So TC needs to get back to me and in the chat, because I don't know TC's other name.
TC's my mum.
TC's your mum. Yay. Good. Well done,
well.
Josh. Thanks for that. Fantastic. Lovely. All right. Now, we also had everyone voting. The most inspiring for the best presentation, the topic, and who they wanted to hear from again. Now, this was very hard to split because everyone had their own favorites. So with a drum roll, the most inspiring presenter goes, and with a cash prize, goes to D with quails and aquaponics. So well done, D. Okay, best presentation, and I think you'll have to agree this presentation was outstanding. Blow your hair back, with Jana Holman. Yay! Jana, are you still on the chat? Let me go to gallery view so we can see you all.
I'm here.
Yay,
Thank you very
Jana!
much. I only just put the stuff away today.
Did you? Wow, amazing.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
And Yana, you got the highest number of watches. So the most number of replays on your video. And then the topic, now this was very hard to split hairs. The topic that people wanted to hear again from, we had everything from Marty and Peppy with the gardening to the finance with Jamie McIntyre. Then we had, who do they want to hear from again? Dimitri got a lot of votes with the emergency prep. So I'm going to have to send out thank yous to our speakers who did amazingly and our PHA crew. So thank you everyone who voted. Thank you everyone who attended and watched the replays. And thank you everyone who joined us tonight. Such a super important call. Yeah. And we had a fabulous time in the summit. And if you can come to Sydney in October for the festival, it'll be a camping weekend. So, you know, you can stay. It'll be worth the trip, I promise you. Be so good. So thanks everyone for joining us. I will get this replay up as soon as possible, James, and send you out a copy. And thank you. There's truecolorsorganics.com. You can get your microgreens course through them if you're in Sydney, and go and see those beautiful guys, Paul and Seiko. They're in West Ryde. So, all right. Well, next week we have it's going to be all about our options for trading. We've got we're looking at how we're going to move into the world where if they move us out of cash, what are we going to do? So this is a brand new option using technology and the blockchain, but with communities and backed by farmers, so that we're really supporting farmers with a new group called the People's, I'm going to get it wrong now, People's Empowerment. You have to join us next Tuesday, and you'll see all about that. I'll put a post out very soon. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, James.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. Great having you.
That
It's
was
great.
excellent.
Great being you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
So-